It is the TSC Elias here, back again with another banger. And today we have a really awesome one because who I have has been making waves across Europe, man. And he's become one of the fastest rising heavyweights in the continent, man. He is the big Bangla banger, man. Please welcome Mr. Shah Kamali. Shah, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing perfect today, man. How are you?
I'm good. First and foremost, man, thank you for taking the time just to talk to me today. I want to kind of get straight into it, man, because, 2024 pretty big year for you, man. You went 3-0, three first round finishes. When you reflect on last year, what do you think about it?
It was a year filled with hardships. All three of those fights weren't easy. Things in the background that I was dealing with, and it was really challenging, particularly because of injuries and things like that, and illnesses. Which I know it sounds like a bit like a cop out, but yeah, it was really reoccurring. Each fight there was always something. The first fight I had in the year was February, I think, February 2024. That fight I was ill the day before, and it was a nightmare. It was one of the worst things that could happen, and you're just there contemplating if you're going to pull out or not. Like we saw last week, Arman pulled out with a back injury. These things happen on the day and the day before, and I was really contemplating pulling out, but there's something within me. I don't know, ego, pride. All my friends were there. I flew out all the way to Amsterdam from London, so I was just like, nah, I've got to do it. So that was the beginning of the year. Midway through the year, I was fine. I was a bit better, and then before this most recent fight, I had loads of injuries, infections, and it was tough. It was really, really tough.
Yeah, man. Through trial and tribulation, you did have a successful year, man. And that first fight in February, man, pretty impressive, man. You were throwing big shots, heavy hands, man. Got caught with a nice right, but ended it with a crucifix stoppage, man. What was the most impressive though was the fight towards the end of the year against Luke Newland, man. Another prospect that was 4-0, and you did the same thing, man. First round finish, man. When you reflect on that fight, man, talk to me about that performance. Do you feel like this puts you a little bit more on the map?
Definitely puts me more on the map. I immediately accepted that fight. I immediately accepted it. My coach told me about it. As soon as I got the contract, I signed it within like a minute, 30 seconds. I wasn't even thinking about it. These are the fights that I've wanted for a long time. The guy has a good record, 4-0. He had a heavyweight belt for promotion in the UK. And I just thought to myself, look, these are the opponents that I've been wanting to fight. I always want to fight good guys with good records. I want to be that guy to take their O. And I just have a lot of confidence in the work that I've been doing at my gym with my coach Stuart and my teammate Mario Pinto. He's in the UFC now. So when I got the opportunity, I was like, I got to take this. And I had a look at his fights, and I thought, he's a lot tougher than my previous opponents. It's a step up, but this is what I wanted, and I just thought, I got to take these opportunities.
Yeah, for sure, man. And one thing that's synonymous when it comes to your career, man, unblemished and round number one, man. Undefeated in the Amis, undefeated in the pros, man. First round knockout. Is that kind of just your game plan going forward, that you just want the quick finish, or are you trying to accumulate rounds?
So it's funny you say that. No, I don't plan on finishing it in the first round. My coach told me for this one, listen, make sure we're going to try and take it to the later rounds, maybe round 2, maybe round 3. But he said to me, his advice is, look, the plan is obviously take it all the way if you can. You're in there for 3 rounds, 5 minutes, 15 minutes total. Take it all the way. But he also says, listen, I feel like you might just hit him, he's going to fall down, and that's exactly what happened. So we plan for the full fight, but whatever happens, you can hit someone and they just fall down, and that's it. You finish them.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you talk about your coach, you talk about your team, man. You represent Fight Zone London, man. Train with the great Stuart Austin, Bellator, PFL veteran, man. How important is it to represent your team when you step in the cage?
It's extremely important. I've been there since day one. So my martial arts journey literally started there 6 years ago, I think, or 6 or 7 years ago now. So for me, it's amazing. People who have been at the gym for that long, they've seen me level up each fight, and I literally started from zero at Fight Zone. So I literally Stuart is literally my first martial arts coach, like MMA coach, you could say. So he's built me into what I am today. So it's extremely important. I'm a reflection of all the effort that all of my coaches have put into me throughout the years. So I'm massively thankful and grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's I feel like there's a lot more gratitude when you don't come from like a true like martial arts background and you kind of get your MMA base and stuff like that, man. And what's interesting about you is a lot of regional fighters, they kind of have to work another job to kind of pay for their thing. But you train and you coach, and it's almost like you're kind of a full-time fighter, kind of all in, man. Why was it so important to kind of kind of fully invest in this sport and not kind of have not distractions but side hustles while you do pursue this?
Yeah, so it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that, but essentially, I started competing in MMA as soon as I left university. So at that time, I was still looking for like regular jobs, but the applications they weren't getting anywhere. So I just thought, let me just take this MMA thing a bit more seriously, a bit more seriously. So as I was doing that, I was still working a few odd jobs, but then I realized, look, if I'm trying to be one of the best in the world, and then there's guys out there who are training literally non-stop. All their sole focus is to train and get better. And I thought, listen, there's no way I can work and get to that level. So, I always had the mentality, look, if you want to really do something, you have to go all in. You can't be half-hearted, especially in a sport like fighting, because if you're half-hearted, you're going to get really hurt in there. This is not the place where you can be half-hearted and there's no consequences. The consequences can be potentially life changing, as it's a brutal sport. So I've slowly, step by step, I'm trying to build it where I have other revenues and income streams where I can just fully focus on my training and getting to the best possible level that I can. Because I'm not just representing myself, I'm representing my country, Bangladesh, my people, my community here in London. So I want to do that as best as I can.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, man. Representing Bangladesh, man, because there's not, not to my knowledge, there's not a lot of high level athletes that come out of that country, man. The only one I know is, also, Bangladesh is a Sajhak,
Chaj
cage
hack,
fighting
yeah.
flyweight champion, man. How important is it, to kind of try to put, to put the country on the map in terms of high level athletics?
It's very important. I think people don't realize that Bangladesh is like a newly formed kind of country. It's only about, gained sovereignty about 50 odd years ago. So representing them on the athletic scene, we don't have many people that really try. Our kind of focus is more education, business, and things like that. Sporting wise, it's never really a priority. So it's important to represent in athletics to show the younger generation, especially, that they can have aspirations for whatever they want. They don't need to box themselves in. Whatever they wish to excel at, they can do it. They can try and excel it, because I'm living proof. Shaj Haq is living proof. There's others that are representing as well. So I have massive support back home, and people really, really, they're so happy to see it, and it's amazing because I don't think of it too much myself. But when I see like some people, they get emotional, when they see me, because they're seeing something that they've never ever seen before. Someone from their community, their country, their countrymen representing and doing it well.
Yeah, man, and it's interesting because it's like you're all you said it, you're opening like another avenue for the youth, man. It's almost like you and Saj Hack are like trailblazers, especially in the MMA scene, because there's not not a lot of guys that are pursuing MMA and combat sports like that. So that's awesome to hear, man. And you talk about education. You talked about previously that you were in university, man. You picked like the hardest degree to go for, man. Electrical engineering. What originally were you going to use that degree for?
I don't know. I don't really know. I was thinking just like something corporate, but it didn't appeal to me. So it didn't appeal to me. I didn't like the 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 lifestyle. I really think that for me, in my own head, I wasn't built for that. Sitting at a desk or doing whatever. For me, I was always active growing up. So I don't think my brain works in the same way as most other people or the people that were in my degree course. My every time I was in a lecture hall, I was just daydreaming about training or fighting or something. My brain was constantly fixated on this one thing, and a lot of um, founders or CEOs, they talk about it. It's like a calling, right? Everyone has their calling. Some people it's charity work, philanthropy, whatever, business. For me, it's fighting. So that's really you can't ignore that. I always have that sort of, if something goes wrong tomorrow, I'll break my leg. I can always go back to it. But my athletic prime, I only have one chance. You only have one chance, and it's short. I've only got, hopefully if my career goes well, maybe like 9, 10 years. That's very short if you think about it. Most people retire at their day jobs at age 60, 60s, 70s, whatever. For a fighter, it's about 35, 35, 36, if that. There's things that can go wrong. So I need to utilize this time as best as I can.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You touched on it, man. The lifespan of a fighter is short, and especially for guys at heavyweight, it's a lot shorter because just the size, and also kind of just you see the pool of heavyweight fighters. There's not a lot of guys out there, man. But since turning pro in late 2023, man, you're 4-0, man. UFC could be on the horizon in the near future, man, and in a division where it's kind of interesting. You got John Jones at the top, Tom Aspinall, interim champion. They look like they're going to duke it out, but after 2 and 3, it's kind of thin out in the heavyweight division, man. How do you think you fit up in there?
UFC level, I think definitely close to the top 15, but I wouldn't. The top 15 are pretty. They've just got a lot more experience. I would say skills wise, I could I could handle myself with anyone really, and I believe in my skill set. I mean, I'm not trying to be cocky, but I think that the level at my gym is kind of underrated on the scene. We have a lot of guys that are really high level, but we just haven't had the opportunity to show it yet. Obviously, we're building. There's it's a relatively new team under my head coach Stuart, so we're still building and we understand the game. Um, we have a really we focus on the fundamentals. So I think, yeah, I can hang with a lot of the guys there, but it's just about experience. These guys, they know how you get tired, how to preserve their gas tank because they've got more experience in fights. Me, think about it. I've had 10 fights and I've only done 10 rounds. They could have 3 fights and have done more rounds than me, or 4 fights and have done more rounds than me. They have a lot more cage time, a lot more experience. So that's something I'm trying to get in the future. More cage time, if it's possible. Sometimes you just hit them and they fall. So I think it comes down to that with these guys in the UFC and these big organizations. They just have a level of experience where you need to get that kind of. You just need to feel that experience, and then you have more confidence in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And with the fight game, it's not just a fight game, man. It's a business, man.
Hundred
And
percent.
with that, man, the pay scale only goes up, with the ranking of your opponents and the quality of your fights, man. Are you looking to kind of jump right in the gun and kind of fight the toughest opponents? Or are you kind of trying to steadily gain that experience and kind of just work your way up, in a steady growth?
I think that's an interesting question. That is a very interesting question. Me personally, I've always had because it is a business. I've got the Chel Sonnen mindset. You should be taking the easiest fights possible for the most amount of money. Yeah, because it's a business, and at the end of a contract, you renegotiate, you get more money, right? The more wins you rack up, that's your resume, that's your ticket to higher purses. So, but also at the same time, think about it from Alex Pereira as an example. He went straight in, couple fights, fighting for the title. He's not taking the long route. These guys, they're trying to get to the top as quick as possible because they know as a champion you can make a lot of money in that time span. But then there's guys, Leon Edwards, for example, in the UFC for about for 9-10 years before he became champ. So he's racked up so much experience, and then you become a champ. For Bilal Muhammad as well. These guys, they've taken the long route and they've become champs. So I think it depends on your physical capabilities as well. Some fighters know that they're more injury prone, so for them it's better to take the harder fights and try and boost, like skip the queue to get to the top. Other fighters, they know they might have like a big medic team behind, or like, for example, Arman Sarukian, he has a billionaires backing him. His uncles are billionaires and whatever, so he has money. He doesn't need to worry about that kind of stuff. So it's like it's difficult for me. I'd rather take the long route because I want to become. My goal isn't just money. I want to become the best possible martial artist I can be, and that goal is detached from money, fame, um, status, or anything. I want to have the highest level of skills that I can possibly attain.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's interesting because you're kind of in a division where, like, after 2 or 3 wins, you could be just skyrocketing. Just because the division is the not the smallest, but there's the highest level of heavyweight division is like half of what the number on its roster, man. But you're currently a free agent right now, man. There's other organizations that are viable options. PFL is a big one championship. Even in Europe, man, Cage Warriors, Octagon has been very huge. Have you thought about these options?
Yeah. I think right now my priority, I want to. There's an organization in Bahrain, Brave. So I want to win the belt there, and then look to go on maybe the Contender Series and fight on that. That's my short-term goal because I think it's a good opportunity to fight in Brave. It's in the Middle East. I can gain some fans out there. Or maybe UAE Warriors, organizations like that. Octagon, I'm not opposed to them, but I think they do favor their own European guys because that's their market. They'd rather have like a Eastern European champ, like, or maybe Germany, whatever, Central Europe. They'd rather have a champ from these areas because they sell out 16,000 seater stadiums, and me, a Bangladeshi from London, I'm not going to be putting bums in seats like that. Even though my fighting style might be exciting, they're going to mainly come there to watch me lose against one of their guys. So for me, I'm looking at organizations like that. I think, yeah, it's exciting. I'm a free agent, so it's the first time um, in a long while. So I'm really considering my future now. All the options available to me, there are a lot, So even in Japan and Rising and things like that. So I'm just open right now.
Yeah, man. And listen, if you fight in Brave, you will be well traveled because they have shows everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
like literally everywhere, man. But when it comes to fighting at the highest level, man, it seems like what separates the elite from the regional guys is the mental game. How important is it to train, the mental game when you're preparing for a fight?
I think the most important thing about the mental game is discipline because you have to train when you don't feel like you want to train. Those days where even it's a struggle to get to training and you're there and you're not really there, but even though you put that 1% in, 2% in, that's such a little tiny amount of effort, but it adds up. In the back of your head that you've never taken a day off. You've put in the work, regardless of if you wanted to do it or not. And fighting, it's very uncomfortable, and you have to know that whatever happens, you have to embrace that discomfort. And when you know that you've been living it day in, day out, it just becomes another day. Fight day becomes another day. So the mental preparation is constant. You have to. It's all these little wins that happen day by day that add up to that big win on that night. So Look, it becomes, for example, I was ill on the day of that fight that I had in February, but in my head, I knew that it's just like I put in so much work to get here that I'm not going to allow myself to lose. You're on a autopilot. Your belief is strong in yourself. You're not going to, even though look, I got like hit with a right and I ended up on the canvas for a split second. I came back straight away strong. I adjusted mid, even though it was a crazy flurry. I adjusted because when you have a strong autopilot, your body just makes the necessary adjustments. You know, you're just flowing in there, and you can't. It's very chaotic, and you have to learn how to control that chaos and be comfortable with that.
Absolutely, man. You got to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, man. That's the only way you can kind of be successful, not only just in fighting, but in life, man. If you want to ever progress in your career, you have to be able to, take chances, take risks, and be disciplined, man. Shah, my last question for you, man, is you had a very great 2024, man. Where do you see yourself at the end of 2025?
I would hopefully, inshallah, get another 3 fights under my belt. End the year 7-0. Who knows? Maybe some more first round finishes. But I want to aim to get a belt this year, a belt in a good promotion. I want some silver. I want some silverware, because in my amateur career, majority of it was spent fighting in like amateur title fights. So I really want to cement myself as one of the best in Europe, if not in the world, who is unsigned to a major organization by winning a belt, and that will put me in the conversation up there. There's not many, like you said. It's a thin division in terms of the number of heavyweights that are out there. So you could get one more win, two more wins, and that's it. UFC come knocking. But by the end of the year, I want to still remain undefeated, inshallah, and win a belt in a good organization.
Hey, man, if you get that belt wrapped around your waist, man, there's a potential call from Las Vegas. Could be in the near future. I'm just saying, man. But Shah, man, where can MMA fans find you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram, ShahK01. I'm on TikTok, ShahK98, I think. Facebook, Shah Kamali. YouTube as well, Shah Kamali MMA. You can watch some vlogs and training footage there. I upload some stuff. I need to upload more regularly there, but yeah, on all the socials there.
Shah Kamali, thank you so much, bro, for taking the time out to talk to me. It was a pleasure talking to you, man. Be sure to like and share and subscribe to Fight Bananas, man. I am the TSD. This is the Triple B, and we